Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
What's on Tap podcast with your hosts, Stefan
and Matthias.
And today we are having a couple of beers, just chillaxing and trying a couple of different things. We are very excited about these two beers. First of all, how you been doing?
So excited.
How you been doing?
I've been
Life treating you well?
Totally fine.
Yeah, just fine, not okay, not super excited.
Yeah, just totally fine.
Excited for the summer?
It is summer, so yes.
It is summer, so yeah,
excited. Right, I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's finally warm.
It is finally warm. I mean, that is one of the things about Sweden is when summer finally shows up. Like June is usually kind of cold, but so far this month has not been that cold. May is usually a pretty warm month,
and then May this year was
miserable. But then June really is usually kind of cold and windy and really really rainy. But so far it's not been that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe we won't have that problem this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year we had a really long summer, or I would say really gentle fall.
Was it? Was it gentle?
It was a gentle fall.
Caressing.
Yes.
Did it hold you to its bosom and coax you into a
pleasant heat?
There you go. As you were. Okay.
As you were.
So we're just we're hanging out, trying a couple beers.
Yep.
And today we have a Brewdog beer.
Again, actually.
Their latest IPA.
Yep. The Pump Action Poet.
Right. It's a stonefruit IPA.
Yep.
And we're also trying the Westbrook Mexican Cake, but not the 2017 version, but the 2015 version.
So I pulled out of the old stout cellar.
The old cupboard.
Yes.
As it were. So that'll be interesting to try. We both had this before a couple of times, and we're both big fans of this beer. So it'll be curious to see how it ages. Yes. Okay, so starting off, we have the Brewdog Pump Action Poet. What can you tell us about this little gem of a beer?
Well, I can tell you that it's loaded with stone fruit and tropical flavor. And it is hopped with Citra, Amarilla, and Simcoe.
Okay.
Brewed with wheats and oats, which is kind of interesting because it's very, very clear.
Yeah, it's extremely clear.
So, I mean, in the smell, I can kind of... It's got that juicy kind of smell like you would get from a New England IPA, but it's perfectly clear. So
it does not have the haze.
No,
the haze bomb like
doesn't have the haze.
Yeah, what we usually get from IPAs these days. This is extremely clear.
Yeah, this super smooth IPA from their Untapped description has a balanced bitterness and a full-bodied mellow malt base.
Okay,
and they've used peach and apricot in it. So it's a fruit IPA with peach and apricot.
Well, stone fruit, it delivers on what it says.
Yep. And classically hopped with Citra, Amarilla, and Simcoe. The stone fruit adds a subtle tart edge to offset the intense, juicy, fruity character.
So what you're saying is it should have a bit of a sour tinge to it.
It's supposed to be tart.
Tart.
But I mean, tart and juicy kind of...
Yeah. Well, tart and sour are usually kind of synonymous.
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
Well, just saying,
It smells a little bit soapy.
It's probably because we use a lot of soap in glasses.
Oh, true.
So it's
yeah.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, that's the smell is really
intense.
Yeah,
and the flavor just
does not deliver on that on any level whatsoever.
Yeah,
because like the smell, you're definitely getting that kind of fruity, kind of peachy aroma to it.
The smell sets a completely different expectation than what you're getting from the taste.
But the peach and the apricot are very subtle in the flavor.
Yeah.
Mouthfeel's okay. And then in the aftertaste, you kind of get that kind of a maltiness almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not particularly...
not very positive maltiness.
No. Almost like a cereal kind of flavor to it.
That's what I think as well.
I'm glad we concur on this.
I'm so glad.
I hate for you to be wrong once again.
I know.
I'm so used to, after a while, we just kind of assume, like, how is Matthias going to screw this one up?
What's he going to do wrong today? All right, well.
It looks great. It's got a nice mouthfeel to it.
It's got a nice little mouthfeel to it.
It does have a nice little mouthfeel to it. But it just doesn't deliver. It's so underwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this.
Yeah, me either. It is.
I had one on Saturday, and what we thought then was exactly the same thing. Like it smelled so much more than it tasted, but let it sit for a while, and we're going to come back to it after we try the other beer.
Okay.
When it warmed up a little bit, it actually enhanced,
evolved and gave us a little more of the stone fruits. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We will
revisit.
Come back to that one. I don't know that it's going to be able to overcome the aftertaste, which is still very cereal-y. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah. No.
Aftertaste.
Yeah. Neither am I.
Okay. All right. So moving on. So we'll hold off on giving it a rating until we come back to it.
Indeed.
All right. So here we have the Mexican cake from Westbrook, Imperial Stout. It's a product of the USA, as it says so clearly on the label.
USA.
Very proud of it.
USA.
Exactly. It is a malt beverage with coconut nibs, vanilla bean, cinnamon, and habanero.
Indeed.
Interesting. Now, why? Okay. 10.5% alcohol by volume, so it's not a huge ABV.
I love how you kind of just your perception of ABV just totally changes from when you've been drinking regular kind of industrial lager, because then you're thinking like a strong beer is like a 5.2% lager,
right?
And then suddenly when you get into craft beer and you're starting to like try these 12, 13, 14, 15% imperial stouts, suddenly a 7.5% IPA is like, oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. No, it's still a lot. And don't get me wrong, 10% is nothing to. You're not going to be like pounding several of these. But when we've seen like your standard imperial stout is coming in at like usually 13 to.
It's usually around like 11 or 12.
Okay, fine. 12. I would say 12 to 13% is usually what we've been seeing around here.
Yeah.
Lately, something comes at 10.5. You're like, oh, this isn't too bad. This is actually.
This is a session imperial stout.
Almost. All right. So this is filled with cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, cinnamon sticks, and fresh habanero peppers.
Indeed.
And even though it says best consumed fresh, do not age or cellar.
I cellared that shit.
You cellared it anyway.
Well, I got two of them.
And said, damn you, Westbrook, and your recommendations on how you should serve this.
I bought the bottle. I'm going to do what I want.
That's right. You should.
It's my bottle now.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I had I bought 3 of them actually. I gave one to my dad, and we both drank those 2 fresh. So I drank one of mine fresh, and he drank his fresh as well. And then I just put this one away.
Okay.
Just to see what happens to it.
And you've had it you've had the 2016, and you've had it since then. I think I have a couple bottles at home as well.
You have a couple of them?
Well, I think I have at least one bottle of this at home.
Yeah.
That I have it open, or maybe I did open. I don't remember. Not important. Neither here nor there. But when we poured this, it had 0 carbonation, I would say.
It was not
very,
much
very
at all.
little.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you drank it originally, did it have all the carbonation on it?
Well, I remember it as having more carbonation, yeah.
Yeah, because this was just spotty. It was just like,
fizz, and then it basically died out.
It's kind of like when you refill a glass of Coke, and it just kind of has a little bit of fizz at the very end, but you don't get the full...
Yeah, you don't get a full head.
Yeah, you don't get the full head of carbonation off of it. And that's what it reminded me of when you were pouring it.
You just get the tip.
Yep, just the tip. You definitely get the chilies off of this. And the smell.
Yeah, the chilies are still really freaking strong.
super aggressive. Obviously, chili is the overwhelming smell on this. Chili and chocolate. And this we let warm a little bit.
Yeah.
We just because it's going to breathe. I think you're going to get more out of it than if you just drink it cold.
Yeah, for sure.
All
right. Well, cheers.
Definite habanero. I mean, you're getting a strong chili on there, but it's not overwhelmingly chili. It's almost like but
it's really spicy.
A spicy candy kind of that just kind of
gets you on the back of the throat.
Hits the senses.
The Simpsons.
Hits the Simpsons.
Is it Homer, Bart, or
hits the senses, but doesn't like destroy the palate just right off.
No, but you can definitely feel like the habanero spice.
Yeah,
in the back of your throat.
Habanero is pretty strong. So even if they cut the seeds away and just use the fruit itself, it's still got a lot of heat in there.
Yeah.
I get kind of like dates and raisins off of it now.
Yeah. Well, it might be a little bit oxidized as well at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's starting to get like that. Like when the Imperial Stout gets slightly oxidized, it gets kind of interesting.
I don't get cinnamon off of this. Not really.
No, I think the cinnamon is basically dissipated completely.
But it's still the cocoa and vanilla. Very tasty. Getting a lot of that off of there as well.
Well, there's I think the cinnamon has completely dissipated, but you definitely get the chocolate and you get the vanilla and you most definitely get the habanero peppers.
The habanero is not going away anytime soon.
No, I'm starting to feel it like warming up my.
Yeah, I think it's called acid reflux.
Oh,
yeah, it's just heartburn is what that is.
Oh, true. Right. We're gonna cut this simpler short.
Yep. Time to go get some antacid, some Tums.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think aging it made it better, because now it's just like it even gets spicier and spicier.
Oh yeah, and this is my third sip, and now I'm really hitting the.
Yeah,
it's almost like
definitely get the heat out of.
It's almost like now. The cinnamon is there, but it's kind of like a spicy cinnamon candy. Like you ever had like a Fireball kind of.
Oh, the Fireball whiskey?
Well, Fireball whiskey is not what I was going for, but it's probably the closest equivalent you have to it. But there's in the U.S. they make these. They're kind of like you know what jawbreakers are.
I've heard of the concept, yes, but I don't know exactly what.
So they're hard, like candy balls of layers of sugar that you suck on, and then it dissolves in your mouth, and you can't eat them because you would break your teeth because they're so hard. So hard. So you just kind of let it dissolve, and as it dissolves, the flavors reveal themselves, and so
it's so hard. So when you put it in your mouth, then
everything's dirty, man. And everything's an innuendo. I'm trying to explain a concept here that some people might not get. So anyway,
is that what you call your penis? The jawbreaker?
The jawbreaker, exactly. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, so many mom jokes. Just waiting to be told. But not going to go there. Gonna take the high road this time. It's really killing me too, let me tell you. Anyway, so they have this candy in the States called the Atomic Fireball. And it's like I said, it's about a marble size, like a large marble size. And it's like super cinnamony, spicy kind of flavor. And that's kind of what this tastes like. Or if you have like Goldschlager, have you ever had that?
No.
It's a cinnamon liqueur, basically.
Oh, I think I've heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got gold flakes in it. Or if you've had a Fireball whiskey or Fireball, but not the whiskey. Right. Wait, what? All right. I had a bit of a technical interruption there. Matthias ran off in a tizzy. He was so overwhelmed by...
Var det tvunget.
All right. We have to edit this episode. You all happy now? Get everything fixed?
Everything's fixed.
All right. So, moving on.
You were talking about marbles?
I have no idea what we're
And
talking
you
about.
had jawbreakers. And
I think we moved past that. It was the
thing?
cinnamon whiskey is what we're talking about. We're
Cinnamon
talking about, not Fireball, but cinnamon flavored liqueurs.
There was exactly. The Goldschlager.
Goldschlager, and then there's some other cinnamony.
I know that the Goldschlager has been, I think it was part of the Grim Fandango game.
Okay.
And it's one of those adventure games, like the point-and-click kind of things.
Okay.
And I know the Jawbreakers, the first time I was introduced to Jawbreakers was...
Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory?
No.
Have they ever left in Gobstoppers?
No. It was in Monkey Island 3.
Oh.
Also the adventure game.
All right.
Yeah.
Good story.
Thank you.
I'm glad we had this moment.
Yeah.
I feel closer to you as a friend and a person.
You should.
And a lover.
Oh.
Sorry, we're talking about that on the show.
Well, since you like putting marbles in your mouth, that's for a different show.
Yes.
That's not this show.
No.
Oh, right.
No.
That's the other show.
That's for our sex toy show.
Yes.
That we have.
Exactly. The other one. The other side?
Yep. We'll call it that. All right, so let's go back to the Pump Action Poet.
Yep. It has some time to sit in the glass now.
And it smells fruitier.
Tastes better, but it still has that cereally aftertaste.
Yeah. It's a little sweeter, I think.
Yeah.
But I still want the peachy, apricot-y flavor. I'm just not getting that from this.
No.
So I'm going to go with the Pump Action Poet. I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Oh, a 2.5?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm middle of the road. Like, technically 2.5 would be a C average. That's what I have to give it. It doesn't have... For an IPA, I don't think it works as an IPA really well. I think as a... probably going to be peachy, stone fruity kind of flavors. I don't really get that. So I have to say that I think that it's fine. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just don't... I wouldn't reach for it again, kind of.
Yeah. I agree. I would not reach for it again, but I think it's like more of a free for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I still enjoy it.
Yeah, and I say it's still good. It's not bad. I don't hate it, but it's a C beer. I mean, it's not a
B or a beer. So
no. And out of a score out of 5, I mean, a C would be a 2.5.
That's true.
Yep.
You make a solid case there.
I have those occasionally. All right. And for the Westbrook Mexican cake.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right. One of the things that I was thinking about on this one was that it's so we've been discussing mole stouts before.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same spices that you would use in a mole sauce?
No, not exactly. I think a mole would be a little drier.
Yeah.
And it'd be a little chocolatier on it because the moles don't have like heat to them. And the habanero is a fruitier pepper. Mm-hmm. So I think if it was a mole, it would be more, it'd be chocolatier, and it would be, the spice would be a little bit drier on it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this, I'm getting more dates and sweetness and raisiny kind of flavors to it.
I think those flavors have evolved from aging it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I assume. Because when you're drinking fresh, it's really forward on the cinnamon and habanero. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate and vanilla is just there as like a backbone to it.
Yeah.
To balance those flavors out.
I don't get a huge vanilla on this.
No,
Still
I don't
get the chocolate.
Vanilla.
I think the vanilla is kind of in the sweetness of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fallen into that. Maybe that's where the dates and the raisiny parts are coming from. Is the vanilla part? It
could be
in there. But the chocolate, I'm still getting that quite fresh, and the habanero is definitely
still there.
Living there, and the cinnamon, I don't get it as an individual spice. I get it as kind of part of the habanero package that's getting delivered. You see what I'm saying?
Like, it's a habanero cinnamon package.
Well, like if you were to tell me there's in the aftertaste, you're telling me there's cinnamon. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I'm not tasting it as the cinnamon flavor. No. I'm tasting it as a hot flavor component in a like cinnamon candy kind of.
Yep.
So,
well, I haven't had any cinnamon candy, but I'm attributing it to, or referring it to the Fireball whiskey.
Yeah,
it's a spicy element,
right? So that's kind of what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah,
and that may not be the intention of it. I need to have it again fresh to see if that's how they're using the cinnamon, or
it's
the
a shame
cinnamon.
We should have had your fresh bottle, side by side.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
Because if I still had that bottle, I got it back in like December, so it's only like 6 months old. Because that's when it showed up in the bottle shops around here. Was like November, January, December, somewhere in that time frame. So yeah, I want to try it again to see if how they're using the cinnamon, to see if it is its own distinct flavor. Because usually when it's its own distinct flavor, I don't tend to care for it.
Yeah.
I think it tastes weird. The Orzata was really good because it used the cinnamon and the lactose and
the brewery Orzata.
Yeah, it was really
amazing,
creamy and like very much like you said a horchata, which is kind of a
tastes exactly like the Mexican horchata.
Yeah, which is a milk flavored cinnamon drink, rice milk flavored cinnamon drink. It's delicious.
It's incredibly tasty.
Extremely calorically dense as well. It is like a huge carb bomb. But then you have it in something. What did we try the other day? The Abraxas, which was heavy in cinnamon, which were just like, whoa,
it wasn't really the other day. It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. The other day, for me, like. Anyway, I've had many discussions about my use of time references and how bad they are. So a couple of months ago, when we tried the Abraxas, and that used cinnamon, it wasn't. It was too.
It was extremely cinnamon heavy.
Right. It was like an overuse of cinnamon, and maybe that's one that would stand to age out a little bit.
Yeah.
But there, the cinnamon was front and center. It was kind of cloyingly cinnamon at that point. It was way too much. So yeah, we need to try the Mexican cake again to see what the intent was. I think on that.
Well, I mean, we both had it fresh before, right?
I know, but I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
You getting too old? Your memory's failing you?
Yes, it's constantly a failure, and one of the many failures of my life is my
memory.
My memory, largely because I probably drink way too much. That's neither here nor there. But I mean, for you, I mean, fine then. You've had it several times fresh. You tell me, what is your recollection of the cinnamon use?
Well, I've had it twice fresh.
Well, there he goes.
And compared to this, I would say that fresh is definitely better.
Yeah, this is definitely. They're not lying when they say best consumed fresh. Do not age or cellar.
Well, I mean, I think Westbrook knows their shit by this point. So
think so?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Pretty sure they know what they're doing.
Maybe.
No, so I would say definitely take their recommendation on this and drink it fresh.
It's a good experience. I still like it a lot. It's still freaking delicious. It may not be what they intended it to be, but it's still, I think, a very, very drinkable, very delicious beer.
Mm-hmm.
So
what would you rate it?
I would give it a 4.5.
A 4.5?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Even aged?
Even aged. I think it's... I like the fact that it's got this kind of candy-ish flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of, like I said, the...
reminds you of home?
A little bit in the use of these cinnamon spiced candies that are sweet, but yet have the dissolving cinnamon heat to it.
Yeah.
I think it's very enjoyable. I kind of wish some carbonation had lasted in the bottle.
Yeah.
Or in the glass, because it would be nice to have a little bit of carbonation does spark it up a little bit.
Would have probably helped mouthfeel a little bit.
Yep. As it stands, though, I think it's still very drinkable. It does not feel like a high alcohol beer.
Nope.
No, I like it a lot. I think it's really, really good still.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's not bad in any way. But having had it fresh, and remembering what it tasted like fresh, I think this is more like a 3.5 for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would rate the fresh differently.
Yeah.
I think I would probably also give it a 4.5, simply because it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
And not to say that one is better than the other. It's just a different, flavor profile,
different experience
in what you're getting from it. So yeah, I really enjoy this.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think 3.5 is way too harsh.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think the habanero peppers just take over way too much in this. So you're missing out on all of the
but the
vanilla.
But the habanero rescinds so quickly.
You see, I really don't think it does that.
It hits, and while I still get the cinnamony habanero-y spice in it, I don't think it just like kills your mouth. Like it doesn't destroy your palate.
Yeah.
Like you would expect like a habanero beer to do. Mm-hmm. We've had some chili beers that are just like hot sauce. They're disgusting. Yeah. But this is just, I think it's pleasant. You definitely get that punch in the teeth from the cinnamon or from the habaneros. But I think it fades away, and then you have this nice, warm, toasty flavor in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Oh, you're so wrong. But I think if you look at the people that have rated it, actually, can you go back into on Untappd and look at the latest reviews for that? See what the last one was.
All right, give me a sec.
Yeah, just tap on Mexican cake.
Hold on,
and then tap on Mexican cake again.
All right,
there you go, and then go to.
Thank you for explaining technology to me.
You obviously look confused and didn't understand it.
All right, so let's see here. So people who have drank the God damn it.
Right. So the last check-in for this
was also 4.5.
Was
still pretty
13
cinnamon.
hours ago. 4.5.
Still pretty cinnamon.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do. I do what I want.
Yeah.
Basically
that was from June 3rd. So yeah.
No rating. 4.5. 4.5. 4.5. 4. 4.5. 3.5. There we go. Spicy. Just what I thought.
They're not lying. It is spicy. All right, now pull up the latest version. Right. Pull up the latest version of Mexican cake.
Yeah, exactly. Way more heat than 17, and more balance between chocolate and cinnamon is what someone says here.
They still give it a 4.75.
Well, that's just
all right. So pull up the latest.
So I think I guess someone had like a vertical of Mexican cakes recently.
We'll pull up the latest version of it and then see what that review is.
All right. Let's see. So we can probably go on the. Well, let's input 2017 just for. Let's see if they. Well, they have released it in 2017.
3 people are reviewing.
Yeah, because that's the one that you actually have, right? Someone had a Cantillon Blueberry, and it's at Fermentorum.
Yeah.
Really? Was it on tap there?
No idea.
It must have been.
Maybe. Okay, so here we're hitting 5. Let's just see. Wait. How are they profiling it? Spicy heat,
chocolate flavor with a hint of spicy.
All right, so the heat. All right.
So the heat is probably what carries over with age as well.
Oh, this guy says way behind.
Please get back to the 2013 taste.
Wow.
But it's still 4.
They're probably misremembering the beer at that point.
Still a 4.
So. Yeah, it's still 4.
4.75. 4.75. 5.
Well, I'm kind of curious as to what they're saying. Are they
less heat in the 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
so it could be that
fresh ones get a lot more chocolate.
Yeah, it could be also that year to year it may vary. Like
that's harsh. Big pile of meh.
They keep it at 3.75. That's ridiculous. If you have a big pile of meh and it's 3.75, that means it's much better than that. And it could be year to year. Maybe 2017 doesn't have as much habanero and plays the chocolate more.
Maybe. And I mean, I'm sure that they probably tweak the adjuncts a bit.
Exactly.
Batch to batch,
I would think from year to year it probably varies quite a bit. So if you were able to taste it and live like very detailed notes. But... So if you went on like rate beer. Oh, you know what? Speaking of that.
Oh yeah, true.
I want to jump topics for a second. Sorry, we're gonna devolve a little bit.
We're gonna sidetrack a little bit.
We're gonna sidetrack a little bit. How do you feel about ABInbev buying into a minority share into rate beer?
Well, so the official statement is that they're buying into it to just get access to the database, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, big beer corporation buying into a basically craft beer rating site to get access to the database.
It feels unnecessary. It feels like they could just buy the database outright.
Yeah.
And then do with it as they wish.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they have an API that they pump out to other sources. So it feels a little disingenuous in that just
a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I've been going back and forth on this, and I understand why people don't like what ABInbev is doing and why they're so against it. And then when you look at what they did in South Africa, buying up all the hops, I mean, the logic behind it is not. I mean, it makes sense why that they took the stance that they did. If you don't understand that, they basically shut down selling to secondary distributors because they need it for their own use. And then if they have anything left over, they're still willing to resell it, but their first use goes to them. Perfectly understandable. They control it. They own the hops. I mean, they've always allowed a third party to resell their hops by their own good graces.
I don't know if I would want to call it good graces at this point.
Well, I mean, they've always owned it. It's not like they haven't controlled it before.
Yeah.
They've always allowed it to happen.
But now they're shutting everyone out.
But now they're shutting everyone out. Right.
Because they're using it for the craft breweries that they bought, basically. Probably.
Well, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to end up being used in the American markets. Because from the statements that I've read, it's primarily being used just in the local market for their local needs. And the exporting of it isn't going to be that great even within the communities, within the properties that they own within the U.S. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how that shakes out. But with the acquisition of Wicked Weed and the opening of the 10 Barrel tap room in San Diego, which is seen as a very hostile move on ABInbev's part to push their properties into new territories, and what is arguably San Diego, the largest craft beer market in anywhere in the world. It just feels like the need to buy rate beer or to buy any kind of controlled rate beer seems really unnecessary and just like kind of dickish, I gotta admit.
But it's also like, I mean, the whole database in rate beer has been built up by the users,
right?
So selling all that data out to a big beer corporation that you've actually gathered from all your users. They could have
sold the information without having to sell any ownership.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could just pump that freely through an API, or even just, twice a year they send you or once a quarter or once a month or whatever, they extract it. And,
or even weekly.
Yeah, an update. Yeah, whatever. There's no need for them to buy into it other than to, I feel like, try to control something there. And then therefore I feel like this is where they're really showing their hand and showing the aggression that they have into the craft beer market.
That's where I feel like the just to get access to the database statement is just not entirely true.
Yeah, I have to agree. And it will be really interesting to see how the people that have used rate beer, if there's suddenly a big abandonment of the
I've
platform.
already seen a bunch of people being really pissed off about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are tons of people that are pissed off about this.
Well, but I mean, I've seen like really heavy users because a lot of my friends use rate beer a lot, and I've seen mostly all of them basically saying that, well, here I've been working on like feeding information into your database for several years now, and you sell out to one of the biggest opponents of craft beer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really tough for me to continue giving you information and helping you out building that database now.
Yeah, because they're not going to want to, the people that are really dedicated to craft beer and to beer drinking, they're not going to want to do anything that's going to
they don't want to
help
benefit
the coffers of ABInbev.
They don't want to benefit ABInbev in any way.
Yeah.
So, and I completely understand that. And I mean, I support it as well.
What surprised me is they went to rate beer and they didn't go to Untapped. Because I could see Untapped being a more natural fit.
Yeah.
Because the people that are in Untapped are your kind of like common people that aren't really going to take the time and energy to put in like long, really in-depth reviews. They're going to be really hitting the score and moving on. They're not going to put in a paragraph worth of content.
No, and if you look at the rate beer descriptions, you have aroma, taste, mouthfeel, you have carbonation levels and everything in the descriptors. So I mean, it's a really more in-depth rating system.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So it's I don't like it, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this play actually pans out over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious if it's like most of the acquisitions that ABInbev has done, where it's a lot of people that get really pissed, but then, whenever, Goose Island puts out a new beer, people are just like all over that shit like white on rice.
Yep.
And if it kind of just, people forget about it in
it feels like
6 months.
It feels like the ABInbev acquisitions kind of fade out a little bit sometimes. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes. So it's like it's a huge uproar right when it happens, and then a couple of months later. Well, I mean, not everyone is going to forget about it, but majority of the common beer drinkers are going to forget about it.
Yeah,
and then just keep going on as usual.
It's kind of like, Breckenridge and Goose Island and Wicked Weed, they're not going to change. I mean, they're still going to be doing the same thing that they've always been doing.
We spoke to Andrew at Wicked Weed at CBC or MBCC, and he was also like, nothing's going to change.
I mean, that's the one thing. It's not like when Miller Coors bought Dave's Hard Lemonade, which was a huge brand, and they just completely shuttered it.
Yeah.
It seems like ABInbev is really still investing in those properties and trying to build that craft beer brand. In fact, they're actually starting their own craft beer line. So that'll be interesting to see what that becomes. Because I mean, they really bought some of the biggest players in the craft beer scene.
Yeah.
That have a real voice in the market. So it'll be interesting to see how they use that talent and what becomes of it. I'm just waiting for someone in Europe to start taking that position, because even though ABInbev is technically a European-based company, you haven't seen that kind of consolidation here on this side of the Atlantic.
No,
because you would think with all this that's happening in the UK,
well,
those breweries would be picked off right and left, because there's some really great stuff happening over there. And here in Scandinavia, there's some amazing breweries. Belgium's doing some great stuff. France, Italy, Spain, they're all producing these like really
all of
great.
Scandinavia.
I just said Scandinavia.
Oh, no.
I said, yeah.
You said Spain.
Oh, I said Spain last, but I said Scandinavia before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, not the point. You totally siderailed me. But the point is, you would think you would see a Heineken or Carlsberg or somebody trying to shore up the market a little bit here before ABInbev turns their their giant
For
scare
the
from the
aim
U.S.
for the-
back to Europe, so I'm very curious who's going to be the first to start that.
Who's going to be the first
consolidation.
European one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's literally just a matter of time at this point. Because Carlsberg already announced they're going to buy a UK brewery before the end of the year. We haven't heard anything from Heineken, but I would not be surprised if they don't try to do something.
Well, they just bought the rest of Lagunitas.
All right, they did buy the last half of Lagunitas, but that's the U.S.
It's also U.S.
US still. So nothing here in the UK. So, I mean, it literally would not surprise me if we saw an announcement that a Buxton or a Cloudwater or Beavertown or
I think I have a really hard time seeing any of those sell out.
I would have had a really hard time seeing Wicked Wheat sell out until it was announced. So enough money gets pushed through, things happen. I mean, eventually you reach a point where the offer is just too good to refuse. So, yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see McKellar selling out, but, someone throws up $1 billion, suddenly, that tune changes. You know what I'm saying?
We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is all wrapped up here. We've reviewed everything. Where can you find us online?
Well, do you know?
Sure. It is iTunes, Facebook, Stitcher,
Instagram.
iTunes. I said iTunes twice.
You said iTunes twice.
Instagram.
And What's on Tap Podcast.
What'sOnTapPodcast.com. Okay. Wow, this ran much longer. We had to go yell at people for a bit, so we'll probably edit this down a little bit so it's not quite. Okay, until next time, keep drinking.